Like many professional athletes, Mark Alt's love for the game started at a very young age. The Phantoms defenseman picking up his first hockey stick nearly 2 decades ago by happenstance at just 5 years old.
I didn't really know much about it at the time. I was playing in the driveway all the time. So my neighbor's kid had just recently quit hockey, and he just said, "Hey, do you want to?" I think I was rollerblading, so he dropped off the sticks, and I started messing around with the sticks. And then my other neighbor drives by, sees me out there rollerblading, playing hockey, and asks me if I want to go play with his son's team. So he picks me up the following week, and I started doing official practices, and that's kind of how I got into it.
Sports were a way of life in the Alt household. Mark maybe even destined to go pro and follow in the footsteps of his father, John, a former NFL offensive lineman.
Mark was a great athlete. Any sport he picked or played, he was always very competitive and always usually one of the top players, and had fun in every sport.
He played everything from basketball to soccer and was even quite the fisherman at one time. But there was no doubt one sport was going to be Mark's ticket.
I'm going to be biased, of course, but he was groomed to be a quarterback, and he was a great quarterback. He was a tough football player, won the state championship game with a broken collarbone and that he got in the first half, didn't come out, played the whole game, was a part of all the points scored, so he was a great competitor, and like I said, he was groomed to play a quarterback position.
A 2-time Pro Bowler, John Alt played 13 seasons for the Kansas City Chiefs, retiring in 1997 when Mark was 5 and moving the family to Minnesota. And while hockey wasn't in Dad's plans, it was a must-have in Mark's.
Dad he wasn't very fond of hockey at the start, and I kind of just did that on the side. I'd go down to the park by myself or with that group of kids and play, so it wasn't really, I think it was just something I did for fun at the start, and he didn't really know about it, to be honest.
Dad wasn't in the dark for long. By middle school, Mark was playing travel hockey, making regular trips to Canada, and progressing as a player, while John still struggled to understand the rules.
I think part of it was not football, so he could get away from me and go do his thing with hockey, because I didn't know anything about hockey. And he'd always be out there messing around with the balls and the pucks and stuff, and I just let him go.
It was absolutely part of it. I mean, football was I knew exactly what I was doing, which camp I was going to, who was coaching me here for what, and it was very organized. Football was in my life, and so hockey was kind of nice because I kind of just go off and play with my friends, and it wasn't really regulated, and I just had fun doing it.
Mark would pursue both sports at Cretin-Durham Hall High School, verbally committing to play hockey at Minnesota as a sophomore, but still keeping the door open for a football career. Despite breaking his collarbone twice in his senior season, Mark threw for over 1,900 yards and 26 touchdowns, earning a full scholarship offer to his dad's alma mater at Iowa.
And I was really torn about it. There's a lot of things to consider, obviously, with my family, and where I was at with just the love of hockey and all that kind of stuff. So it was tough. I really did wait till that last day to make the decision. I had a lot to take in.
Mark would reflect on both his own football accomplishments and his dad's. He was 10 years old when John was inducted into the Chiefs Hall of Fame in 2002, a memory the Alt family will always treasure.
It was a black tie affair, and Mark got to ride in the limo with Bill Belichick and Ray Lewis, and he was just kind of getting it at that point, what it meant, and I was glad he was able to be a part of it.
I'll never forget it, because I just at that point, I'd been watching those guys on TV. I'd seen my dad play a few times, but to hop in a limo and all of a sudden I was sitting next to Ray Lewis, and these guys are just towers in this limo, and so I'll never forget that. It's such a vivid memory looking at those guys and kind of listen to their conversations, so it was fun.
Still, the 2-time All-State defenseman would choose hockey over football in 2010, honoring his commitment to Minnesota despite his family's best efforts and his mom's black and yellow wardrobe.
She was wearing Iowa Hawkeye apparel every day of the week, and there was no hiding it. The whole family was pushing Iowa football, and that's where I was too. And I was like, yeah, that's what I was kind of raised to do, and I could follow my dad's footsteps, and I definitely rocked the boat. Hockey was not not where everybody wanted me to go.
It definitely took some time first to understand it, and then even to get on board. I mean, it was a last-minute thing. It wasn't a done deal. Even while he was playing hockey at Minnesota, there was some reservations. At least some were expressed. So it was a tough decision, I think, because he loved football too. So, but you got to go with where your ultimate passion is.
Hockey is it for Mark, coming off an injury-plagued season and working towards his best one yet as a third-year pro. And while it's not the NFL, there's still plenty his dad can relate to and help overcome.
Focusing on the game and what I need to be watching and paying attention to, he's so good with that stuff. And it's not, it's not a resource everybody has. So I can call him and say, hey, I'm struggling with this, and especially with the rehab, he's been through injuries too. So asking him, hey, I'm being tentative in certain areas, and he said, well, how to adjust to that. So he's a big help in that way.
The third injury was like, I had to really do some talking to him about these things come in waves, and you're going to have this. You got to go through it. It makes you tougher, and the old adage, if it doesn't kill you, you're going to learn and get tougher from it. And I think that's what happened with him. He got motivated this offseason, came in great shape, and had great times in the testing and all that. So it motivated him to get back and be strong when he got back.
Professionally, John points to a Monday Night Football win in 1994 in Denver as one of his most memorable moments as a Kansas City Chief. For Mark, his top career highlights are yet to come as he looks to soon become a mainstay in the NHL and continue to prove his decision to pursue hockey over football was the right one.
There's definitely an end goal. I want to get to the NHL, and he played at such a high level for so many years, and that's my goal. That's the career I've chosen, and I want to get to the NHL, and I want to play there a long time, and kind of share in that experience with him a little bit in a different aspect of hockey, but at the same level.